Let's talk about the Kronos Cipher. Back in the thick of the Cold War, this message started broadcasting, and it was a message that just defied all explanation. For 50 years, it was like a ghost in the machine, a total puzzle.
So, what if I told you there was a Cold War message that might have actually predicted the future? I mean, seriously, imagine this. A super cryptic radio signal, right from the height of all that tension, gets decoded 50 years later, only to reveal something from the future. This story, it doesn't just bend the rules of time, it kind of shatters them completely.
All right, so let's get into it. Our story starts, well, not with a bang, but more like a whisper. It's this ghost signal, right? One that haunted the airwaves for decades, and it all kicked off in a very specific year. Okay, picture it. It's 1973. Somewhere in Eastern Europe, a shortwave radio crackles to life with a new broadcast. But this isn't music, it's not news, it's not even a coded message that anyone recognized. It was something else entirely, something nobody could figure out.
And for years, this is all anyone heard. Just this repetitive, kind of haunting sequence broadcast over and over and over. 1, 4, 6, 9. It was just relentless, so methodical, but totally, completely indecipherable.
So right from the get-go, just questions, no answers. Who was sending this thing? And maybe more importantly, what on earth were they trying to say? It really was a true ghost in the machine.
And just like that, a half-century of, well, silence began. The signal just kept broadcasting, but no one could crack it. It became this legend in intelligence circles, the ultimate unsolvable puzzle box.
So you're probably wondering, why was it so hard to crack? Well, for one, the best code breakers on the planet totally stumped. The pattern didn't match any known cipher system, not Soviet, not Western, nothing. But here's where it gets even weirder. The signal itself, it had this complexity that just seemed way too advanced for the tech they had back in the 70s.
Yeah, this timeline really puts it into perspective. The signal pops up in 73. For literally decades, it's just a riddle, an enigma. And then, bam, 2023, a full 50 years later, the silence is finally broken.
And the key to unlocking this whole Cold War mystery? It wasn't some grizzled spy or a giant room-sized supercomputer from back in the day. Nope. The breakthrough came from a really modern mind, using a really modern tool. This is where we meet Victor Havel. He's a retired data analyst, and kind of on a whim, as a hobby really, he decides to feed these old recordings of the ghost signal into a modern AI model. I mean, he wasn't expecting much, right? But what that AI found, oh man, it would change absolutely everything. So, the AI gets to work, and it doesn't spit out some jumbled sentence or a cryptic poem. Not at all. It produces this perfect structured data set. Seriously, it looked like something you'd pull from a server today. Super clean, totally organized. All that chaos of the numbers just resolved into pure, clean information.
Okay, and this is the exact moment the story goes from being a cool historical curiosity to a completely mind-bending paradox. Because the stuff inside that data set, it was just impossible.
Turns out, the decoded file was satellite telemetry data. Now, in simple terms, that's just detailed data mapping the coordinates of stuff orbiting the Earth. Sounds a little dry, I know, until you find out which satellites it was talking about.
And yeah, here's the catch. This is the moment where everything just gets flipped on its head. There was a massive, catastrophic problem with this data. Just look at this. The broadcast started in 1973. Simple enough. But the satellite data hidden inside it, it was for objects that weren't launched until 2002. That is a 29-year gap. The signal was describing the future, and not in some vague Nostradamus way, but in perfect technical detail.
So, what are we left with? A paradox. A paradox with no easy explanation. The facts are right there. They're undeniable, but they don't fit into anything we understand about how time is supposed to work.
Which brings us to the first huge question, right? Who sent it? Because let's be clear, no government in 1973 had this information. It literally did not exist yet. And that, of course, leads to the second and maybe even more chilling question. It's not just who sent it, it's from when. I mean, was this a message somehow sent back through time?
Victor Havel might have solved the cipher,
But all he really did was uncover a much, much deeper mystery. It just leaves you wondering, maybe some puzzles aren't meant to be solved at all. Maybe they're just doors. Doors to questions we're not even close to being ready to answer.